How would you like to have a flood of ideal clients who are knocking at the door of your business seeking to pay you for your health advice? If you're a health coach and you are struggling to make content consistently or learning how to create content that converts, then this video is for you, because I'm going to show you how you can take your existing conversations that you're already having, whether they're in person on consultation calls or over the phone, and how to turn those conversations into cash flowing, high converting content. Even if you feel shy talking to a camera, we're going to show you how to overcome the challenges that many health educators make when going online and creating content with their health knowledge. In fact, a question that I got was from Sherry Mateik in this Asking Nick Anything session. She was saying that, how can I connect with my ideal clients who have fibromyalgia? See, Sherry is a fibromyalgia coach, and she wants to support those who also have this fibromyalgia, which is a severe chronic fatigue, pain in like every cell of the body, just screaming at them. And she's helping people to overcome a lot of this exhaustion as she's been able to overcome this. So and she wants to know how she can connect with her clients. How she was first, when she came to me, she was looking, she was joining Facebook groups and befriending people and looking for ways that she could go out and search for her clients. Now, and she wants to connect more with those who have fibromyalgia. Now, let me ask you, how many of you want to connect more with your ideal clients? How would you like your ideal clients? Type client in the chat below in the comments if you want to connect more with your ideal clients. In my book on high ticket health coaching, I talk about this concept where I teach people to stop chasing your health clients and start attracting your health clients. Everything changed for me in my business when I stopped like chasing people and going after clients and started learning what is called attraction marketing. Attraction marketing makes you a magnet to your ideal clients, makes you become magnetic and attractive to those who you're seeking to serve. And it's funny because I was just coaching Alpha and Shantoya Stewart, and they are coaches for high blood pressure and lowering the blood pressure naturally. In our last coaching call this last Tuesday, they talked to me and they're like, it's mind-blowing to me because you helped us to identify who our ideal clients are. And since then, we have been finding professional women over 40 who want to lower their blood pressure naturally. They've just been knocking at our doors. They've been coming at us out of the woodworks where we've never seen so many in our life. And they were so glad that they learned the strategies that I'm going to be teaching you today. One of the concepts I teach in the book, one of the ways for you to become magnetic and attract your ideal clients, is this concept I call about becoming a lighthouse. If you look at it, there's two ways. You can go chase them. Think of your ideal client like they're a sailor lost at sea, and they're in need of your health advice. They're about to make shipwreck. They're in the storms of this health challenges, a health crisis. There's all this misinformation, like every wind of teaching an idea of of health coaching that's so conflicting out there, and they're lost at sea. Now you can go search for them like a needle in a haystack, or you can set yourself up as a lighthouse by creating the content that solves valuable problems for your ideal clients, that makes you where you show up in the search when they're searching for you. And then your ideal clients, they can start seeing your lights that's shining online, and they're coming to your business. They're leaving comments. They're befriending you. This is a strategy that I've used to be able to generate over thousands of Facebook friends who see my content, like the stuff that I post, and then they send me friend requests, and my ideal client starts to connect with me. This has been it's been a big game changer in our business. And one of the things that I learned that helped me to make $10,000 a month in my early 20s, and for our family health education business to be able to generate over $500,000 in profit. These are some of the strategies that have really been that breakthrough that I believe many of you are looking for if you have a health message, you want to get it out. So answering Sherry's question, the key is to let your light shine. And in 2 Corinthians 4:6, the Bible talks about how your light is the knowledge. It's the glory. It's knowledge that you have health knowledge and you want to let your light shine. And Jesus says that in Matthew 5:14, ye are the light of the world, a city set on a hill that cannot be hid. You let your light shine online by being a light to the dark, by solving problems where things are unclear for people. You create content. If I was a fibromyalgia coach, I would talk about fibromyalgia stories. I would share fibromyalgia solutions. I would help provide clarity over small fibromyalgia issues and share concepts that makes that content stand out. So you're looking for those who are looking for you. In fact, Myron Golden, a millionaire mentor of mine, one of the things that I learned from him after being in his mastermind with his high-level inner circle, one thing that I learned is he said that you don't find people to sell your stuff to. You make yourself findable to people who already desire to buy what you desire to sell. And it's really simple that there's already hundreds of thousands, and for many of you, millions of people who already desire to buy the solution you desire to sell. They have a health challenge and they're ready. They have cash in hand. They've got large discretionary income. They're ready to pay a premium for your health advice. The only problem is they don't know you exist yet. So we want to solve that by creating Lighthouse content. But when we get into about creating content, now there's different challenges that come up where now we're like, then there's difficulties about being consistent. What do I say? Maybe talking to the camera is uncomfortable, or what do I look? How do I look on camera? Or what am I going to wear? Or just so many different things that go through our mind that hold us back. I'd like to know for you, what would you leave a comment below? What is the greatest challenge that you face when recording videos on camera? What is it that holds you back? And you know, video is king. We already know that video marketing is not the future. It is the now. This is how we break through the noise and help reach people with our health message. And so what holds you back? For me, I remember when I was just getting started in my content creation journey, it was about 12 years ago. It was 2012. I was posting my first videos on YouTube. And I'll be honest with you, I sat down to go record, and talking to that camera was so uncomfortable. You just got like this plastic glass lens looking at you. It's like this soulless lens is just peering into you, and it's uncomfortable. It feels unnatural, right? How many of you, by a show of hands, who feels a little uncomfortable talking to a camera lens? Type I do in the chat if that's you. So I'm not the only one. And one of the things that I hear a lot is that, talking to the camera is hard. I forget what to say. I blank out. Or maybe it doesn't feel natural. Like talking to people is fine, but talking to a camera, making eye contact with a camera, or remembering what to say, there's so many problems and uncomfortable scenarios with talking to that plastic glass, right? So what do? I know for me, like, I'm not naturally good at communicating. I grew up playing video games where I really typed to people. I didn't verbally communicate. And I wasn't the most social butterfly. In fact, I was held back in school. I was in special education class because I was socially, developmentally like stunted, or I was not as further ahead socially as others. I developed a severe stuttering problem when I was younger, and I would just be the last one that you would think would be creating content, sharing, impacting the messages on stages, writing best-selling books, and getting paid $10,000 for giving a 45-minute speech. Like this is the last thing that I would imagine coming from my background. So when I had a vision, when God gave me that mission to go tell to the world, and that recognizing that people are about to make shipwreck of their life, their health, if my message doesn't get out there. And then, so what did I do? I tried all sorts of things to finally get comfortable on camera. I remember when I was younger, there was a photographer trying to take our photo, and they put a little stuffed animal there. They're like, say cheese and smile. It was really cheesy, but I did it. I put a stuffed animal behind this tripod, and I was trying to, I thought, well, maybe if I look to the stuffed animal face, then it will be comfortable. Did it work? No. But hey, it's like I found out what didn't work. And I tried so many different things to figure out what to do, but finally, what I ended up doing was what I realized is the key is don't speak to a camera, speak to a person on a video call. I have no problem speaking to a person. And for many of you, likely, it's when you can talk to a person, you're natural. You just express yourself. Your ideas come freely, right? But when you're talking to a camera, oh, now there's pressure. Now it feels uncomfortable, right? So that's the key. Talk to people, not cameras. And all you got to do is hit record on that call, and there you've got content. And you have that conversational tone that people love speaking about. And so what we're talking about is how to turn your current conversations you're already having and creating content. I was talking to someone who's a health advisor, and she gives health advice. She was telling this story about this jail guard. She does prison ministry, and there is this jail guard over there that she was giving some health advice to, and he applied it, and he was like, okay, how much water do I drink? And what do I eat? And what are these tips? And he's just soaking up everything that she's sharing. And he comes back and says that his runs in the morning, he's able to run further. He has more energy throughout the day. His headaches are going away. And he's just feeling so much better because of that advice. And my thing is, if that advice was able to help the jail guard, then why not capture that conversation on camera, publish it, and then you could build a community, build a brand around the conversations you're already having. And if she wants to get paid for a health advice, chances are if you're watching this, you're already giving free advice away, right? You're giving advice away for free, but you want to know how you can start charging a fee. One of the ways that you can do that is by building a platform that positions you as an authority on that topic. One of the ways you could do that is by creating Lighthouse content on the subject. But to do it consistently and without feeling uncomfortable in the process, just take the conversation, say, hey, is it okay if we record this? And most people will not have an issue with it, especially if you say, you know, I think the questions you have are questions that many other people would have too. Would you be open if I hit record while we have this conversation? And most people say yes. I could say this from experience. So this is how you could do it practically. And this is what I did. First, take inventory and ask yourself, where do you currently speak the most with folks? And let me know in the comments too. Is it on Messenger or SMS apps? I know when I was talking to Sherry, she's like, yeah, Messenger is where I share most of the health advice and I give different principles. Maybe you're texting people phone to phone, or maybe it's face to face, like with the jail guard. And if you have face to face conversations, there's plenty of ways that you're able to record that. Maybe you're doing phone calls where it's over the phone, and a lot of you have consultation calls coming in. People call you at different times. Or like me, it was video content. I posted consistently on YouTube and Facebook, and I would get comments. Then the comments, I would take those comments and I would tell people, and this is what you could do. Just look at where are you currently speaking the most at? Where do you share your health advice the most with people? And wherever that is, just say, hey, would it be okay if I record this? And if you do it on phone calls, there are phone recording apps that are free. They're called ACR, automatic call recording apps. There are, you could also switch to Zoom calls. Most phone calls can be done over Zoom. Zoom allows you to automatically record. And what I would do is I would create content, then I'd listen to the comments, and the comments, people would be like, wow, this is powerful. I really like this. This is insightful. Thank you for posting. And I would just comment and say, hey, if you enjoy this content, how would you like to hop on a call and we could be on a video call? Back in the day, like 10 years ago, that was on Skype. We did Skype and then Google Hangouts, and now Zoom is all the rage, and there's even more platforms than before. So I would just comment and I'd say, hey, how would you like to discuss these similar topics on a video call? And I don't remember ever being turned down. And people will get on a call and they're like, wow, this content creator that I'm learning from, now I get to talk to and get this personalized conversation. And if they're interested enough to watch your videos, they'd be interested enough to have that conversation, right? So that's what you want to do. Look at where you're currently having the conversations and invite them to get on a video call with you. It could be a simple Zoom call. And I found that there's 4 methods for turning your conversations into content. And these 4 methods will help you as far as like what to say, the content portion of it. First method is what I would call the background buddy method. I really stumbled upon this on accident. You see, when I was 16, 17, I was living with my mom, and I got permission to rearrange our living room to have, I nailed up a whiteboard on there. I put teaching tools on either side. I put, most people have their living room all surrounding the television. Ours was surrounding a whiteboard. And it's similar to a setup I have here with our recording studio, dedicated room just for teaching and holding classes, but that's what I did in our living room. And so the couch was on the opposite side of the whiteboard, and then behind the couch, I got a tripod, and I didn't have my own camera, so I just got a Galaxy S3 because that's what I had at the time, and I attached it to the tripod. And to be honest with you, I don't know if like phone mount to tripods existed, or I just didn't know about them. But I literally went to the hardware store. I bought a wing nut, super glue, some popsicle sticks, and some rubber bands in order to adapt so that our tripod can hold the phone to be able to record with that wing nut. And it had like the popsicle sticks, and I had put the rubber bands there, and that was my first tripod. Now we've got Manfrotto, which is a name brand. It's very good quality. We've got tripods and recording equipment galore, but at the time I was 16 and I had a mission, and I didn't have a big budget, but what I hope that shows you is that there's always a way if you're committed enough. Equipment is never an excuse. And so I put the tripod behind the couch so I could talk to people in the audience. They were in the background, and I would invite people from school. I would invite neighbors and friends and family and anyone who would listen. I would invite them over, and we'd have these meetings, and I would share with them different things that I've been learning. And I even like mounted a teleprompter on the TV above their heads on the back wall so that I could have slides, I could have my outline notes, I could just have different things that I wanted to talk about. And that was my content. But here's the problem. If I didn't have an audience, then I wanted to create content, and I'm like, I'm speaking to that camera and it's staring at me again. And I'm just going blank. So it was really uncomfortable. So what I did is I met a guy, Michael, from YouTube. And Michael, here you see him on the screen. This is where we first met in person at a Spokane airport. But I was in Oregon creating content. Michael lives in Pennsylvania. And while he's over in Pennsylvania, he watched one of my videos, Who is Michael the Archangel? And that started a Skype friendship. And then we started getting on video calls. And we did these video calls, and we would study and share, and we would have amazing conversations, where later he became a student of ours. He came to our school. He started creating his own YouTube channel and inspired many others to do likewise. But when I wanted to record a video, I was uncomfortable. I sent Michael a message. I said, hey, Michael, would you be willing to just like be in the background? Like, I need a buddy who could be in the background, and just like, you could be mute. Just put your camera on so I see a face, so I feel like I'm talking to someone. And I shared a subject that Michael was interested in. And on the whiteboard, as that in that photo, I was literally just going down. I had like 15 points that I was teaching, and Michael was on the video call silent. He was just in the background, being a buddy. And now I could comfortably have a conversation because I'm not talking to the camera, I'm talking to Michael. And so what you can do, this method with the background buddy, just find a friend who's supportive. It could be a relative, it could be a family member. Like, those videos literally got thousands of views and were viewed internationally around the globe, impacting people's lives. That brought even more traffic to our organization and how we're showing up and helping people. It's amazing to see what can happen. So that's a first method. The second is what I would call the 80-20 conversation method. So some of it may be that they're not, let's say they're not unmuted, they're not muted, and it's more like a conversation. But you're gonna provide 80% of the content, they're going to provide 20%. They might have some engaging reactions. They might have some follow-up questions. They probably won't say a whole lot, but they would be interested in the topic. It's very similar to what I did with Michael, but this time they're unmuted, and now we're having a conversation, and they're going to be on the video too. So if people are not comfortable with them being posted on video, you could do the background buddy method. If they are comfortable, like I did this with Britney, Britney would watch my video, she commented below, and I said, hey Britney, how would you like to get on video and we can go over these topics even more in depth? And she'd like, I would love that. So we got on video and we studied, we did a weekly, once a week, we got together and I shared with her. And what I had is I had a framework that was like 28 lessons. And I went week 1, lesson 1, week 2, lesson 2, week 3, and I would go through these 28 lessons. I did that with over like 15 different people on a variety of topics. And this is where she didn't say a whole lot. She had great reaction. She's like, wow, and her mind is blown. And what that does for your audience is they get to see that energy. They get to see the excitement, the enthusiasm of your guests and how engaged they are in the conversation. And sometimes she would ask questions, but that is what I would say is the 80-20 conversation, the 80-20. And then what happened was in one of our videos on YouTube, there was a comment from a subscriber of mine. At the time, he had like 230,000 subscribers, somewhere around there. And he commented, he said, brilliant, I love the teachings of this young lad on one of these Britney videos. And I noticed he had a lot of subscribers. I was like, well, what if, hey, and I responded, if you like the teachings, then how would you be open to featuring my channel under your featured channels on YouTube to encourage people to subscribe to my channel? And he responded, he said, you know what, I'll do even better than that. How about we get on a video call, have a conversation, and then I will invite my subscribers to subscribe to your channel. I'm like, mind blown. God wants to do exceedingly abundantly above all that we can ask or think. So I said, sure, let's do it. So we got on a call and we had this conversation. And then here's the video where he was interviewing me, asking me questions. And as you can see, we're using Skype, and it just rapid fire questions on these different topics. And for it looks like his subscribers, like he restarted his YouTube channel, so now he has 39,000. This is actually a more recent video, but when we did this, it was like 2013. He had over 200,000 subscribers, and what happened was immediately after that video was released, he encouraged everyone to subscribe to my channel. And my email notifications, I had hundreds of new subscribers that day. And the next day I had slightly less, but it was still hundreds of subscribers. And each day following for like 2 weeks, there was trickling more and more subscribers. And it was amazing where what you can do, and it's simply by having a conversation that we would already have with a friend, with a buddy, with a companion, and recording it. Taking the conversations you currently have, sharing your health advice, record it, post it online, and you're able to grow and build a platform through that. And it's very engaging and people like that. So you can have content on your platform and other people's platforms. So that's number 2. The second method is the 80-20 conversation method, very effective. And the third is what I would call the curious companion method. This is where, like Tiger Dan, the YouTuber, he had lots of questions for me. Michael was like that. Michael had tons of questions, and I didn't really follow an outline for his. It was literally just Michael shows up, got tons of questions, and I would answer them. And it was just like, he was so curious, and he would just ask lots of questions that I would answer, and his mind was blown, and he was really grateful. And that's why we ended up meeting each other over in Spokane. When I was speaking at an event, I told him, I'm going to be speaking at this event in Spokane. Would you like to come meet in person? And he flew out to the West Coast for the first time in his life, and he was there to connect. And it's amazing how you're able to have like an instant audience from the online contacts. I had someone from Canada, Ryan, who we also did video calls, and he joined us over when I was speaking out in that event in Spokane area. And I mean, the Curious Companion works really well when you have someone who's got lots of questions, and you can let their questions kind of guide and direct the conversations. Now, when you're talking about a topic, some of you are hearing that and you're like, oh, what if they ask me a question that I don't have the right answer for? Well, that's okay. That's why the next method is going to be good for you. But some of you are like, hey, if I don't have to create an outline and someone's just going to ask me questions and I'm just sharing what I know, I'm sharing my experience, I'm sharing a topic that I'm already passionate about and health advice that I'm constantly learning about, like that sounds simple. How many of you can say simple? Type simple in the chat if that sounded simple to you. So the fourth method is what I would call the outline method. The outline method is great if you want a more structured approach. If you are not so much looking for just the conversation go anywhere, but this can, or you could do a blend of both. So let's say, like, one thing that I do is I help health experts to package their health knowledge into a best-selling book and then launch that book to #1 bestseller and build a business on the back end of their book. So if you already have a health book, you can take the chapters in that book and turn that into content. So chapter 1 is week 1, chapter 2 is week 2, chapter 3 is week 3. And now you've got book-based conversations. Now you're having a conversation about your book and you're able to create content and post on that. And it brings more book sales. It positions you as an authority on your topic, and it's adding value to the person you're serving, which is an ideal client, and it's attracting more ideal clients who didn't know you exist, but now you're making yourself findable. So you've got these chapter by chapter that you can go through your book. Another way that you could do it is just a simple bullet list. If you just have little teaching points, often when I'm teaching, I don't have full script. I don't script out the whole talk. I just have little bullet points. That way I could be free and easy to speak together. So you could make a simple bullet list, or let's say you have slide presentations. Like what I got now I have these slide presentations. I'm going to be on a consultation call here soon, and I'm going to go through some of these slides with the diabetic coach, and I'm going to show him how he could we're going to mastermind and map that strategy out together to help him to do this. So you could create slide presentations if you have that design and you like that, or if it's a goal that you're working towards more slide content, then that's an awesome opportunity. And just share your screen and allow the slides to guide your conversation. The fourth is you can have a framework focus session. That's what I did with these 28 studies. I had a 28-step framework that I would walk people through step by step, and that's what structured our conversation. So if you've got a framework that you teach, you can share that framework in a consultation call, and you could just solve problems for people. And it could be as simple as even before you hit record, you could say, hey, here are 4 options of different topics we can cover. Which one would you like the most? All right, let's go. And you hit record and have a conversation, and it's easy peasy lemon squeezy. Can we say lemon squeezy? So here's an example of someone who, well, actually, I'd like to ask you, which of these 4 methods works best for you? Let me know in the comments below which one resonates more with your style, which one seems the easiest. Like, pick a method. This is going to help you tremendously if you want to apply these principles. Here's someone who is in the health coaching niche, and he applied the same principles I'm teaching you today. He was able to apply this in his business. In fact, he coaches people in fitness, and he posted this video. It has bad lighting. He had a bad camera. He had only 160 views on his YouTube video, but this video booked him 20 calls, 20 sales calls of people interested in his coaching. He signed up 9 of those people into a $6,000 coaching program, which led to a $48,000 week. 1 week, he made $48,000 doing the exact same thing that I'm teaching you to do today. And he's literally having a face-to-face conversation. He just set a camera up where he's just recording the conversation, having a talk with someone that's relevant to his audience, to his ideal clients. So how many of you can find someone to have a conversation with, set up a camera in a dark room in a corner, and start creating profitable content that's attracting your ideal clients? It's simple. Creating content that converts is simple. We go to work to complicate it. And what this shows you is you don't need a big audience to make big money online. In fact, in my book on high-ticket health coaching, I teach people, the subtitle is The Secret to Making Big Money with a Small Audience Online. And this man is really applying the principles that I teach in the book. that in a very masterful way. And it's simple. You don't need, just because you have 100,000 followers doesn't mean you're making $100,000. And just because you have 100 views doesn't mean that you're making no money. And so following the principles I'm sharing with you, when you learn to turn your existing conversations into high converting content like I'm showing, this allows you to earn while you learn. You don't have to wait to start making money. You can start making money in your business today when implemented correctly, when you're following the right guidance and the framework, and you have the support to make sure that your back-end business is in place so that this stuff makes sense for you. How many of you would like to earn while you learn? Type yes in the chat if that's you. So basically, what this system is I like to call this the consistent content cycle. This is how you're able to have endless amount of content. You never run out, and how you make content that converts. So number one, it starts with content. You post something, anything. As you post the content, you will get some feedback. And then you will hear some people who give you comments. And in these comments, people are going to say, brilliant, I love the teachings of this young lad. Or they're going to say, wow, this is insightful. Or they're going to say, this is powerful, I like this, this makes sense. Or wow, whatever it is. If they give you positive comments, then what you want to do is turn those conversations into conversations. And when I say conversation, I mean go down, every business goes down in the DMs. Go send them a private message, talk to them on social media, or invite them to have a conversation to find out a little bit about them, see if they would be open or interested in furthering the conversation. Then you can invite them to a call. And on this call, this is where you can have a consultation call. This is where you can this is where you're really connecting deeply with your ideal clients. And as on these calls, you're going to hear insights that you won't get just from the comments and just from creating videos alone. If you're not having calls with your clients and you're just getting started, this is one of the greatest advantages you can get. In fact, Gary Vaynerchuk said that you want to conduct 100 of these like avatar clarity calls, these avatar interviews with your ideal clients. Get on a call, have 100 of these conversations, and by the end of those calls, you will know more about serving your ideal client than the vast majority of your competitors, because your competitors aren't willing to have those conversations. But what's powerful is you can record the conversations, and now you're turning these conversations that are helping you to get to know your ideal clients better and really connect with them deeply and on an intimate level. And after 100 of these calls, you begin to recognize patterns. You start recognizing exactly the language they use, the desires they have, the fears they have, the struggles that they face, and you're able to turn these into profitable products. You're able to update your offer and fine-tune your sales message, and you're able to speak it in their language so that when they hear the trumpet is giving a certain sound. So on the calls, you learn their concerns. These are buying objections. These are concerns they have that hold them back from succeeding with the content you have. You hear the concerns that prevents them from moving forward, and then these concerns you turn into more content. And then you create this virtuous cycle of consistent content creation, where no longer are you wondering, what am I going to create? What am I going to teach? Or how do I do this? It's so simple. Anyone can follow this. And this is really the process that I followed when I was just getting started that helped me to launch my YouTube channel and really open the doors for me to become an international speaker, where I'm getting booked and paid to speak, where they're paying for my flights, my hotels, going to dream destinations, speaking to audiences on topics that I'd gladly do for free, but now I get paid, making a living, a generous living, impacting people's lives, sharing the health knowledge that I just love doing. And this consistent content cycle helps you to be able to do that. Now, the next thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to create your content rhythm. In your content rhythm, I want you to decide, based on your schedule, how many times do you want to teach and impact people's lives with your health message? How many times a week? So you could do it once a week. Sometimes you can have once a week and change the person every week. You can even find, if you don't have a lot of calls lined up, you may find one person, like a beta client, a test of your ideal clients, and you can schedule a weekly time with them like I did with Britney or Michael, where each time you get together and you solve problems, you can take them through your framework, you can go through your bullet list, you can address whatever problem they're facing at the time. Just what would an ideal lifestyle look like for you? Maybe you'd want to do it 3 times a week and you're like, I'm excited to have these calls. I want to speak to people. So you might have three ideal clients that you're getting on a call with once a week. Or you might have Tuesday, you swap it out for different people, and Sunday and Thursday are 2 people that you're working with. Or maybe that's too much, that's a little overwhelming, and you want to just free up your calendar to be every other week, where you're just doing it bi-weekly, and that's okay too. So let's say you choose a Tuesday on every other week, you were going to open up your calendar to have these consultations, to get to know your ideal clients. Really, the freedom is yours. You get to design your life the way that you would dream. What would ideally, like, if you think about it, how many times a week would you want to impact people's lives with your health message through one of these calls? And that's what you get to decide. So choose your content rhythm. That's going to be a game changer. And then again, like for Sherry, if you are helping people with fibromyalgia, this is what you can do for, say, at least 4 weeks. Let's say week 1 on the call, you deal with inflammation and you go through like a framework, where week 2, you talk about the power of gratitude and how their mindset can really help people to have more energy, master their emotions, not be discouraged, and be grateful for the resources they have. Week 3, you talk about the power of exercise and moving and what they can do for you, and how it creates dopamines and it's a natural painkiller. Week 4, you could talk about the harmful effects of sugar and how sugar just messes with your body and inflames your fibromyalgia, and it just drains and exhausts you. You could like literally just go through a framework week by week, and then it simplifies the process. So now that you've created your content rhythm, you've decided how many times you want to work with people, then how to come up with fresh ideas. Just ask simple questions like, what topics will help the person? If you're helping an individual, what's going to help them the most? Or what problems do they have that you can solve in a piece of content? What topics am I excited about right now? That can be something that would be very easy to create a quick outline about and speak together. Or what discoveries have I been learning lately? If something's fresh and new and you're daily discovering new insights, these are great content that you could share. And the reason, one thing is that I believe that these consultation calls are like the best thing since sliced bread. And here's 3 good reasons why. Because number 1, you're not stressed about what to say. You're not, the last thing you're thinking about is like, oh, what am I going to say next? It's a conversation. You don't have the conversation just like, oh, what do I say? You don't go blank. The conversation guides you. And if you're not sure what else to share, then you just ask a question, and then they will ask a question, and the conversation carries you through the content. 2, your energy is better. You have higher energy. You have, where like teaching to a camera, you might have a teaching energy, but having a conversation, you have a learning energy. You have a conversational energy, which people really dig that. And then 3, telling stories. I know for me, when I have conversations, it's some of the best ways for me to come up with stories and share and relate. And I'm constantly looking at ways to relate what I'm sharing to their personal experience and goals and desires. So your stories are going to be more relevant, more calculated, that will be able to serve people better. And then, and you want to think about too, you could also find experts. When you find experts on these topics, you not only can work with people who are ideal clients, you could also find authorities on similar topics. But one thing you want to keep in mind is there's 2 different kind of like competitors or experts businesses out there. You have your direct competitors who sell the same thing as you. Like if you have a fibromyalgia coach, if you're a fibromyalgia coach, I wouldn't necessarily find someone who coaches people through fibromyalgia to go speak on your on your platform, that would be a direct competitor, a conflict of interest. But an indirect competitor is someone who, let's say they are a best-selling author on sugar, or on sleep, or on gratitude, and you can show how, or on women's hormones. When you can find an expert on hormones, then you can show how does the hormone mastery apply to fibromyalgia? How does the sugar affect people with fibromyalgia? And you're able to guide the conversation to be whatever the area of expertise is as it relates to fibromyalgia. So it's not a direct competition, they're indirect, and those are great people to have on your show and for you to have these conversations to their audience. So now you know how many times you want to speak, what you're going to say, and now let me show you how to use Amazon to fill your calendar with interviews with these highly qualified experts. And this is great for if you're just getting started or if you've been doing it for a while. This will help you to build credibility on the niche, on the topic that you're just entering in. So first, what you want to do is you want to go to Amazon, go to Amazon.com, and right there at the top, you can actually search, you can filter, see how it says books, hit the drop down arrow, go to books, and then let's say we're going to type in sugar, something simple. So we're going to look for an author on sugar. Then as we scroll, I was working with Sherry on this, and I showed her how there's Sugar Crush. Sugar Crush, it was written by Richard Jacoby, and this seemed like it was a good fit. It talked about reducing inflammation, reversing nerve damage, reclaim good health. So that sounds along the lines that fibromyalgia people can benefit. So what you're going to do is you're going to take the name, highlight the name, and Google the name of the author. And when you put it into Google or Bing or a search engine, now what you're looking for is they either have a company name or they have a personal brand name. The personal brand is usually going to be like richardjacoby.com. And if that's the name, you click it and you're going to find the contact information. Or you have, because he's a health professional, he's probably a doctor, or he has a doctor's website. You're going to go find that, which we do see with Extremity Health Centers. Now we're going to click on there. Now we see that he's a doctor, and he's in Scottsdale. So we're going to click on Extremity Health Centers. That looks like that's our guy. And oh, lo and behold, here's our doctor. This is the author. We found him. And now once we're on his website, we're going to click the menu in the top right corner. We're going to look for the menu we're going to look on the menus, and we're looking for something that says like contact. We're looking for something that has contact information, maybe an email, a form, a phone number. We're looking for something that we can speak to. And when I searched through his menu, I found podcasts. And podcasts, I'm like, oh, this is great, because this is what we want to interview him on your podcast, on your show. And on his podcast, here he's actively posting on like Sickly Sweet, how sugar is crushing our health. We even there was a section here where he talked about fibromyalgia and sugar connection. So he's already creating content on the topic. And if you see where the mouse is on the screen at the top, it says support at biooptimizers.com. So that's the name of his podcast, and he's been going at it since 2004. So now we've got an email, and this email makes it so much more simple to invite him. And here's a pro tip for research. If you see people who write books often speak on podcasts. So if they're an author, chances are they're just biting at the bit, eager, excited, waiting for someone to give them an opportunity to expand their audience to reach more people. So and also, people who speak on podcasts. So if you see the author who you're researching and they're showing on other people's podcasts, there's a good chance they'd be willing to speak on your podcast. Does that make sense? So that's a quick way that you can gauge the likelihood of them saying yes. So now you got their email. What are you going to say in the email? This is what I told Sherry to share. This is an email script you can say, and everything that is in yellow and gold, you could just replace with your offer, your topic, your expertise. So you send them an email that says, hey, I've got a podcast. target audience are those who have fibromyalgia. I love that you wrote a book called Sugar Crush, so insert whatever the title of the book is, about reducing inflammation, reversing nerve damage, and eliminating sugar or decreasing the sugar in connection with fibromyalgia. I would love to interview you on my podcast so I could feature you and your book to my audience. See, that's really key, where this is you-centered communication. This is benefit-driven to him about what you want to do on the show. I think my audience would greatly value from hearing your message. Would you be open to having a quick conversation where I could promote your business and your book to my audience? Would that be okay with you? And if you literally can copy, paste this, you can take a screenshot. Pro tip, there's an extension called Copyfish that allows you to take a screenshot of videos and it'll turn all of this into an edible text. And I'll make sure to put this in the description so you don't have to go through all that. But the Copyfish is helpful. I learned this principle from Russell Brunson, where he talked about how he's able to find like unlimited access to multimillionaires, best-selling authors, highly successful individuals, and have like a one-on-one coaching session with these people because they authored a book. He just finds his favorite book author, and then he'll reach out and send a similar email like I'm talking to you. And because he has a show, because he records these conversations and publicly publishes them, you have an audience, they have a message, they want to get their message to more people, so you have a gift that you have. They're looking for shows like yours, just like you're looking for experts to have guests to have conversations with. So it's like a match made in heaven. You've got like this simple solution that everybody wins. And what Russell said is most authors don't ask how large your audience is. And that blew my mind. They're like, oh, you got a podcast? Yes, no problem. So like using this method allowed me to be able to interview Myron Golden, who he usually charges $35,000 an hour for his for one-on-one coaching. And here I was able to spend an hour with him. I shared with him I've got 300 episodes. And I've got over 300 episodes. I'd like to invite you to speak on my show. Could I interview you? And I was able to ask him all the questions that I want to ask him, one-on-one, have this conversation. And it was simple. Drew Manning, he's another author who sold, he's a New York Times bestselling author, and he sold lots of copies, very accomplished, successful author. And I use him as an example because he went from fit to fat to fit. He gained and lost 75 pounds on purpose. And he just has a powerful hook. And because I talked to him to my audience, I was like, hey, I learned about him from Russell Brunson and as like an example for health coaches. And then I was like, well, let me get on a call. Let me invite him to speak to my audience. Sure enough, I did. We talked about book authorship and how to promote your book and the biggest mistakes he's made, what he would do differently. It was a powerful conversation where you have instant access to successful people. So one thing that I would suggest to you is interview mentors or experts you are actually interested in learning from. When you take people that it would just be a dream for you to talk to, think about those, your favorite authors, the people you watch their videos for, you listen to their health podcasts, and like doctors who've been intricate or integral in your experience of becoming who you are in this health knowledge. Go interview these experts and let me know in the comments, who would you love to have a one-on-one conversation with? They might charge thousands of dollars to otherwise have one-on-one calls, but because you follow the strategies I'm sharing today, you'll have access to them immediately, like virtually unlimited access to highly successful mentors. And because you're publishing them. And what you can do with this is you can borrow their credibility to build your credibility. And what I mean by that is now that they've quoted something, or they share something profound, you just say, hey, this doctor suggests, when you're talking about fibromyalgia, you're like, hey, Dr. Jacoby says that sugar is one of the worst things for fibromyalgia. If you want to reduce your inflammation, reduce the sugar. And so it's not like, you don't have to have a degree, you don't have to have letters after your name. You can quote, you can borrow the credibility of these guests and things that they've said. You can ask them questions that really leads a conversation where they're going to teach things that you'd already want to be teaching. And then now you have a whole host of experts, credible sources that you're able to quote. And you're like, hey, I'm not saying this, but this doctor says. And then now you can quote these people, and then your audience is able to listen more. And because you're seen with these influencers in the health space, these health experts, you're perceived as being a health expert by association. So there's a lot of benefits of having these videos. Now, I want to ask you, if you are going through this experience, and before we talked about how sometimes it's talking to the camera is uncomfortable, but the moment you switch from talking to a camera to talking to a person, can you see how this method can help you to instantly overcome camera shyness? Type yes in the chat if you can see the lights. And also, if you like this video, then and you want to go deeper and you want to know more about this, I encourage you to grab a copy of my book on high-ticket health coaching, where I go deep into content marketing and health coaching. If you want to build a business around your health advice, it's marketing that's going to help you to do that. And really, marketing is bringing your message to the masses. And if you know that you're called to serve people with your health knowledge and you want to really get it out there, then grab a copy of this book. I'll cover the cost of the book. If you cover the shipping, just go to highincomehealthexpert.com/book or comment book down below. Check the link in the descriptions. You can grab a copy of this, and I would love to ship it to you. If you cover the shipping, I will cover the book. And thank you so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe if you found this helpful. And I look forward to seeing you again. If you want to be on a consultation call, if you want to see more of how this works, I'm going to be opening up my calendar to have more of these too. Also, just type in consulting if a consulting call is something that you'd like to hop on a call with me to talk about your business. And I'd be happy to have some conversations. Have a great day, friends. And remember, God doesn't call it qualified, He qualifies a called.